Good morning, guys. Am I audible and visible to you? Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible? Good morning. Okay. So this is the, if I would like to say this, rather the first class of early medieval or the early medieval Indian history. Uh, how many new students are here? Those who have joined today, जिनका medieval बाकी है. Because earlier this batch I was taking ancient. The ancient students are here only, so they will continue with the batch. How many new students are there? Pancham, Harsh, Nish, Tanashri. Okay. Not much. Few of you. ठीक है. तो आपका medieval बाकी है. Is all the is all the sections in the medieval pending? Medieval में सारे sections pending हैं कि कुछ chapters pending हैं? Yes. All. Everything is pending. चलिए. Fine. So no issues. We'll start with the sources first. I would like to get things start. And जो ancient के students हैं, so they are here only. So fine. So we will finish medieval time period or medieval Indian history. हमारा goal है कि हम almost I will take 7 lectures, 6-7 lectures almost. तो आप बीच में हमारे I think today is Thursday, so we'll take classes on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we'll break for the 2 days of Sunday and Monday. That's Christmas. So basically, मेरे ख्याल से 29th तक मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि हमारे lectures हो जाएं, ठीक है? 29th तक हमारा syllabus हो जाए, so that you can also work ahead. Prelims आ रहा है, and most of you are giving prelims. So the idea is to complete it in a very less amount of time so that you can get as much time as possible with your revisions. Coming with the sources, for medieval India, तो medieval India के sources के लिए मैं simple दो चीज़ कहना चाहूँगा. One source which you have, for example, if you have not read medieval, अगर आपने medieval कभी पढ़ा नहीं है, and आप ये देख रहे हैं कि बेसिक से मुझे स्टार्ट करना है, so the old NCERT or the book by Satish Chandra is the basic source and the best source out there. Okay, so सतीश चंद्रा की किताब आप सब लोग जानते हैं, मुझे ये बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. Now the problem with this book is, इस किताब से ये प्रॉब्लम है कि it is a bit haphazard. मतलब chronologically तो सही है, सब कुछ is out there. But this book is a bit haphazard so that it gives you facts here and there. Facts directly आपको नहीं मिलेगा. कुछ facts दिए रहेंगे, कुछ facts नहीं दिए रहेंगे. So it's an omission and addition basis on the author. तो author के ऊपर है. Okay. एक किताब और आती है जेल मेहता की, ठीक है? Now जेल मेहता's book is not a narrative book. ये book जो है 3 volumes में है, आपको second volume लेना है for medieval India. This book is very factual in detail. सबसे ज़्यादा factual किताब है ये, सिर्फ और सिर्फ factual narrative है. तो मान लीजिए प्रीलिम्स के लिए आप पढ़ रहे हैं, मेंस के लिए नहीं बोल रहा हूँ मैं, अगर प्रीलिम्स के लिए आप पढ़ रहे हैं, तो दिस इज वन ऑफ अर्लीस्ट एंड द बेस्ट बुक्स. इनफैक्ट लोग कभी कभार नेट के लिए भी इसे पढ़ते हैं. इट्स अ वेरी डिटेल्ड, वेरी बल्की, वेरी फैक्चुअल बुक. ओके, सो दैट इज आउट देयर. इसके अलावा इफ यू वांट a book which will help you in prelims as well as mains both, दोनों में आपको काम करें, particularly medieval India की. So there comes a book of what you call as medieval India or early medieval India by Vipul Singh. It's a Delhi University book. ठीक है. This is also a good book. It's simple, it's narrative. इसमें historiography भी है, तो अगर आप optional ले रहे हैं, that is also इससे काम चल जाएगा. एक्सेप्ट फॉर द फैक्ट जो हिस्टोरियोग्राफी है उसको आपको इतना डिटेल में नहीं पढ़ना है, बाकी की किताब बहुत अच्छी है, यू कैन गो अहेड विद इट एंड फाइंड इट. एंड स्टडी IQ मिडीवल बुक इज अ वेरी गुड बुक. वी हैव कंपाइल्ड सारे बुक्स के फैक्ट्स को लेकर हमने कंपाइल उसको किया हुआ है, so you can take that book as well, right? We have taken all the books out there, so that is also fine. Okay, sir, can we read only study IQ NCERT history class? As far as you are GS student, जब तक आप GS student हैं, you don't have to worry about optionals. I would suggest that take one standard book. अगर आप study IQ की book भी लेते हैं, ठीक है, study IQ की book is not just based on NCERT, by the way. It's also taken from other texts. दूसरे भी texts से लिए गए और बनाए गए, ठीक है. So that is out there. Sir, in PCS there are very limited questions for that. What should we prefer? For what? Limited questions किसके लिए हैं? For what there is limited questions? मतलब समझा नहीं. Limited questions for what? For medieval. You're saying that medieval के limited questions आ रहे हैं. देखिए, this is one of जिसको मैं कहता हूँ, this is a conundrum that we have. We have to do any one you have to choose. मैंने आपको बताया, आप जिस भी stage of preparation पे उस हिसाब से आप किताब choose कर सकते हैं, ठीक है. So that depends upon you. This is a completely factual book. Okay. So अगर आपको बस factual material चाहिए, so that is okay. This book has historiography plus facts. Okay. So if you want a bit in slightly detailed, this book is just narrative and this is also old NCERT. ठीक है. सिंपल सी चीज़ ये है कि अगर आप बस GS स्टूडेंट हैं, गोल ये है कि बस इतना पास करना है कि सर हमारा प्रीलिम्स निकल जाए और GS पेपर 1 में मिडीवल में ना फंसे. बेस्ट थिंग इज ट्राई एंड कवर सतीश चंद्रा और स्टडी IQ बुक इज ऑल्सो मोर देन सफिशिएंट. ठीक है, तब उसके लिए आपको और आगे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. वेटेज ऑफ मिडीवल इज रिड्यूसिंग. आई वुड कंप्लीटली अग्री विथ यू कि वेटेज ऑफ मिडीवल इज डिक्रीजिंग, बट सिलेबस डिक्रीज नहीं हो रहा है. So the situation in front of us, the dilemma in front of us, in front of all of us who are preparing for UPSC is that कि सर सिलेबस इतना बड़ा है और वेटेज कम हो रहा है, तो क्या किया जाना चाहिए. ठीक है, ये सबका सवाल है, आप सब लोगों का यही सवाल है. इस सवाल का जवाब एकदम सिंपल है. मैं इस सवाल का जवाब पहले भी दे चुका हूं. आई विल रिपीट इट अगेन. दिस क्वेश्चन डिपेंड्स अपॉन द टाइम इन विच यू आर स्टैंडिंग. Let's suppose you have to give exam after 4 months. Then of course you should take your guesses and chances and innuendos कि ठीक है सर मैं medieval को उतना prepare नहीं करूंगा. But as a teacher I have to complete my syllabus with you. Okay, so I will complete every nook and corner of the syllabus because मुझे तो आपके साथ complete करना है. I cannot take guesses that sir ये section में कम question आएंगे, वो section में ज़्यादा question आएंगे. लेकिन as a student when you have less time you do take guesses and you do take your hunches कि सर medieval से उतने क्वेश्चन नहीं आ रहे हैं तो मैं थोड़ा skip कर देता हूँ. I will be okay with you if you don't have time. Let's suppose if you are giving 2025, then you should not ask this question at all. Then you should complete every part of the syllabus even if it comes or doesn't come in the exam. As simple as that. ठीक है. So अगर आपके पास समय है तो सब कुछ पढ़िए. समय नहीं है तो as it is you have to pick and choose. In whatever stage of life or whatever stage of preparation you are, I think that answers the question. ठीक है. But I would definitely agree with you when you are saying कि sir syllabus ज़्यादा है, questions कम हो रहे हैं. I would rather say that focus on non-Islamic medieval history. For example, Delhi सल्तनत से questions नहीं आ रहे हैं उतने. मुगल इंडिया से क्वेश्चन नहीं आ रहे. ऐसा नहीं कि एकदम से नहीं आ रहे हैं, बट ऐसे क्वेश्चंस नहीं आ रहे हैं जो आप नहीं कर पाएंगे. आते हैं, बट इट्स लाइक दैट कि वी स्पेंड ऑलमोस्ट 3 लेक्चर्स on ancient on Dalit sorry on Delhi Sultanate and on Mughals and yet क्वेश्चन उससे आएंगे ही नहीं. क्वेश्चन आज आ रहे हैं आजकल विजयनगर डायनेस्टी से. क्वेश्चंस विल कम फ्रॉम बहामनीज. क्वेश्चंस विल कम फ्रॉम होयसालास. Questions will come from early medieval dynasties. Questions will come from Cholas. ठीक है. Questions will come from Rajput history particularly. ठीक है. अब इन सब जगहों से क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं, लेकिन यहां से भी जो क्वेश्चन आएंगे, प्लीज ट्रस्ट मी, दे विल नॉट बी इजी क्वेश्चंस. ऐसे क्वेश्चंस नहीं होंगे जो आपको टिक लगा के आ जाएंगे, बिकॉज दैट पार्ट ऑफ हिस्ट्री व्हाट आई कॉल इज द शैडो हिस्ट्री। शैडो हिस्ट्री होती है वो। शैडो हिस्ट्री का मतलब ये है कि लेट मी इफ आई टेक योर अटेंशन हियर, अगर मैं टाइमलाइन डेडिकेट कर रहा हूँ, अगर मैं टाइमलाइन देख रहा हूँ कि मान लीजिए एंशिएंट से हम मिडीवल में जा रहे हैं, you study the last time period of ancient history as the time period of Harshas, yeah, the time period of Chalukyans in south, and the time period of Pallavas, and followed after Pallavas, so almost till 850, so 750 से 850 AD तक आप ये सब फॉलो करते हैं, and then from onwards you break into the larger mold of medieval India, uh, early medieval India in fact, जिसमें 850 से लेकर 1200 तक या 1206 तक till the starting of Delhi Sultanate आप अर्ली मिडिवल टाइम पीरियड पढ़ते हैं। लुक एट दिस अर्ली मिडिवल टाइम पीरियड, दिस इज द शैडो जोन ऑफ हिस्ट्री। ये ऐसा शैडो जोन है कि यानी कि इसके बाद दिल्ली सल्तनत आता है जो आप बहुत शिद्दत से पढ़ते हैं। दिल्ली सल्तनत के साथ साथ आप विजयनगर और बहामनी किंगडम्स पढ़ते हैं, ठीक है, ऑलमोस्ट फ्रॉम 1326 टू 1500, 1530, 15 मिडिल ऑफ 16th सेंचुरी। और उसके बाद आप एक बड़ा चैप्टर पढ़ते हैं, दैट इज मुगल इंडिया। और मुगल इंडिया के बाद यू स्टडी फ्रॉम 1526 टू अराउंड 1707 और even going beyond. This you will study from around 1206 till 1520, or if I would rather say 1567, till the time period Bahamani and Vijayanagar are fighting with each other. But इस time period में आप चोलास पढ़ते हैं, you study the coming up of Rashtrakuts, Pratihars, okay, or Palas and Senas, and then finally the Rajput kingdoms. अब ये पार्ट जो है, यानी कि ये मेन पार्ट है, दिस इज अ मेन टॉपिक, दिस इज अ मेन टॉपिक, एंड आफ्टर दिस आल्सो यू स्टडी मराठास, the Maratha history as such, which is a part of the early medieval small time history. हालांकि मराठा हिस्ट्री भी आप मॉडर्न में पढ़ लेते हैं, the पेशवा part of the Maratha history. But look at these important parts. आप हर्षा के बाद सीधा दिल्ली सल्तनत पे ध्यान देते हैं, मुगल इंडिया पे ध्यान देते हैं, मराठास पे भी ध्यान देते हैं, ठीक है। लेकिन ये वाला जो पार्ट है, जैसे ये बीच वाला पार्ट है, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज शैडो जोन। या दिल्ली सल्तनत के बाद विजयनगर बहामनी लोग ज्यादा नहीं कर पाते, और डेक्कनी सल्तनट्स नहीं कर पाते, जिसमें बीजापुर, गोलकोंडा, खानदेश, अहमदनगर, बेरार एक्सेट्रा आता है, वो लोग नहीं कर पाते। दैट इज व्हाट यू कॉल एज द शैडो पार्ट ऑफ हिस्ट्री, कि दो बड़े चैप्टर्स के बीच में जो छुपा हुआ पार्ट होता है उसको हम शैडो पार्ट बोलते हैं, ठीक है। जहां पर स्टूडेंट्स का ध्यान नहीं जाता है लेकिन एग्जामिनर्स का ध्यान जरूर जाता है। वो हर साल पेपर निकाल के देखते हैं कि पिछले साल मैंने प्रीलिम्स में इस सेक्शन से क्वेश्चन दिया था। तो ज्यादातर अहमियत ये होती है, which I have been seeing the kind of the changes that they do, कि मान लीजिए अगर पिछले साल उन्होंने दिल्ली सल्तनत से क्वेश्चन दिया है या मुगल से क्वेश्चन दिया है, तो उसी के पार्ट से आर्ट एंड कल्चर से या एक इनसिग्निफिकेंट पार्ट से क्वेश्चन देंगे और एक नया पार्ट ढूंढेंगे मिडीवल इंडिया में ही टू गिव यू क्वेश्चंस, और वो नया पार्ट कोई और एरिया होगा। So you have to take your chances, see the past year question, particularly 2023 questions, 2022 questions, और थोड़ा ट्रेंड समझिए, एनालिसिस समझिए। भले ही एक क्वेश्चन आया हो मिडीवल का, मेहनत आपको एज ए स्टूडेंट ये करनी है कि मान लीजिए एक पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक से या एक पर्टिकुलर सिलेबस से एक ही क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, लेकिन उसके ऊपर भी थोड़ा सा रिसर्च तो करेंगे ना आप। दैट इज कॉल्ड एज स्मार्ट स्टडी। So you will do some type of research. Okay, this Sunday I'm taking a YouTube class in order to predict the paper of 2024, that how you should make your subject wise strategy. अगर आपके पास समय होगा so please come and join. You should take this thing even if you are not reading medieval, right? You take this syllabus of medieval, sit with it, see the questions that have come to the past 2 years. Just देख लीजिए कि 2022 में कौन से क्वेश्चंस आए medieval के, क्या वो उस सेक्शन से रिपीट हो रहे हैं कि नहीं। क्वेश्चंस नहीं रिपीट होते हैं, वो सेक्शन रिपीट होता है। अगर मिडिवल से राष्ट्रकूट के ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है तो शब्दशः ये देखा गया है कि नेक्स्ट ईयर राष्ट्रकूट के आर्ट एंड कल्चर से या और किसी चीज से या इसी एरिया के और किसी डायनेस्टी से पूछ लिया जाएगा थोड़ा बहुत क्वेश्चन, और एक नई डायनेस्टी ढूंढी जाएगी, ठीक है, उसके आगे या पीछे। सो यू हैव टू टेक दैट चांसेस, ओके। You have to in a way be innovative, also try and understand the mind of or the psyche of an examiner भी हर साल जो है यूपीएससी का पेपर ऐसे सेट होता है कि एग्जामिनर्स को पता नहीं होता है कि उनके क्वेश्चन आने वाले हैं कि नहीं आने वाले हैं। देयर आर 5 to 6 एग्जामिनर्स ऑफ ईच टॉपिक, ओके। सो मिडिवल के एग्जामिनर होंगे, मॉडर्न इंडिया के एग्जामिनर होंगे, ज्योग्राफी के होंगे, इकोनॉमिक्स के होंगे, माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स के होंगे, माइक्रो के होंगे। हर सिलेबस के एक सेक्शंस के 5-6 एग्जामिनर होते हैं और वो एक क्वेश्चन सबमिट नहीं करते हैं। दे गिव अराउंड 5 to 10 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ ईच सेक्शंस दैट दे हैव, और 5 से 6 एग्जामिनर्स 5 से 6 क्वेश्चंस देंगे। वो सारे क्वेश्चंस इकट्ठा होते हैं, जंबल अप होते हैं, दे आर जस्ट कंप्यूटराइज्ड। और कौन सा क्वेश्चन आने वाला है पेपर में, द मेन पेपर, वो एग्जामिनर्स को भी नहीं पता होता है। सो दे ऑल्सो डोंट नो कि हमारे कौन से क्वेश्चन आने वाले हैं। सो दैट इज द मेथड दैट यूपीएससी गोज थ्रू, एंड हेंस इवन जो कंट्रोलर ऑफ एग्जामिनर होते हैं उनके पास भी पेपर नहीं होता है, फाइनल पेपर। एक दिन पहले उनके पास भी पेपर नहीं होता है, बिकॉज द क्वेश्चंस गेट जम्बल्ड अप। सो कौन सा क्वेश्चन फाइनल वर्जन में आने वाला है, 4-5 पेपर के वर्जन निकलते हैं, तो फाइनल वर्जन में जो आने वाला है, कौन सा क्वेश्चन आने वाला है, भगवान जानता है उसको। सो बेसिकली आपके 100 क्वेश्चन प्रिपेयर करने के लिए वो 500 क्वेश्चन का बैंक बनाते हैं, और वो हर साल बनता है, ठीक है। तो जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड द माइंड एंड द साइकी ऑफ एग्जामिनर। उस एग्जामिनर को लास्ट ईयर का पेपर मिलता है, तो वो जानबूझ के एक काम तो जरूर करते हैं कि वो वाली एरिया को रिपीट ना करें, लेकिन उसके किसी प्रकार के क्वेश्चंस को रिपीट किया जाता है। दैट बिकम्स योर क्लू। सो ऑल्सो प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड द प्रोसेस एंड ट्राई एंड टेक हंचेस एंड ट्राई एंड टेक गेसेस, ठीक है। बिकॉज एक भी क्वेश्चन से अगर आप सिलेक्ट हो रहे हैं, so that is uh, your luck basically, ठीक है, and your perseverance, your work as a smart student. But this strategy only when you are sitting in December and reading medieval India for the first time. अगर ये चीज आप मुझे जनवरी में पूछ रहे होते तो मैं बिल्कुल आपको ये स्ट्रैटेजी नहीं बोलता। I would have rather told you कि study each and everything. Clear everybody? ठीक है, okay, are you getting? Okay. Any questions now? Any questions? I've already given you timeline. मैंने timeline of history आपको पहले ही दे दी है. Those who are new students, have you taken any class from me? Am I new to you? Yes, please. आप पहले class कर चुके हैं? Those who are joining today, do I need to introduce you, or you? I mean, do I need to introduce me, or you already have taken class? Okay, modern आप लोगों ने लिया है, ठीक है. Sir, does this choosing of questions apply to all subjects? Yes, it does apply to all. ठीक है. Okay, so some students are new. Most of you have taken the classes before. Okay, so my name is Ashish, and I particularly take history classes here. Okay, आप लोग तो पहले से ancient वाले हैं ही, तो not an issue. But those who have come today, there are some new students. Okay, so Sonam and Roshan, you are new students. Okay, fine. Other than that, nothing more to introduce about me. चलते चलते और कहानियां मिलती रहेंगी। सर सतीश चंद्रा पूरी पढ़ ले, मिडिवल कवर हो जाएगा। यस, मिडिवल कवर हो जाएगा, लेकिन सतीश चंद्रा साहब ने 2 वॉल्यूम में किताब लिखी है, और बल्कि किताब है। बट मेरी शिकायत सतीश चंद्रा किताब से ये रहती है कि हालांकि वो बहुत अच्छे से नरेटिव पेश करते हैं, बट his way of choosing and omitting a subject, that why he chose one figure or why he chose one fact to be given and why he didn't choose another fact to be given. For example, now UPSC has more stress on non-Islamic डायनेस्टीज जो क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, बट अभी रिसेंटली मुझे देख के बड़ा सुकून मिला कि जब मेंस का क्वेश्चन आया मिडीवल से, सो इट वाज आस्किंग अबाउट द मिडीवल टेक्नोलॉजीज, है ना, मिडीवल टेक्नोलॉजीज ऑफ पेपर मेकिंग इंडस्ट्री और बोट मेकिंग इंडस्ट्री और कारखानाज ऑफ अकबर्स टाइम पीरियड एंड अर्ली मिडीवल टाइम पीरियड. तो ये क्वेश्चंस वो पूछ रहे थे एंड दैट was exactly taken from Satish Chandra. Satish Chandra से उठाकर उन्होंने मेंस का क्वेश्चन पूछा था. So as far as mains is speaking, I can say that UPSC is going back to old NCERT. ठीक है, looking at this year's mains paper. तो इस साल के मेंस पेपर में एंशियंट इंडिया से भी ओल्ड एनसीईआरटी से क्वेश्चन आया था आर एस शर्मा से, और मिडीवल इंडिया के भी क्वेश्चन जो एक क्वेश्चन आया था, दैट केम फ्रॉम सतीश चंद्रा डायरेक्टली उन्होंने उठा कर दिया था. इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप दूसरे किताब से वो क्वेश्चन सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते, आप बिल्कुल सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. बात यह है कि वेयर इज द हॉर्सेस माउथ, राइट. सो कि क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली कौन सा किताब देख के वो फ्रेम कर रहे हैं, दैट इज वेयर यू शुड also put your thoughts on. So that having said that, prelims में उतने क्वेश्चन नहीं आ रहे हैं, but yes, they are coming. ठीक है, क्या था वो क्वेश्चन? They asked about the medieval India technologies के ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था. Okay, so they asked about the new technologies which were discovered in the medieval India, and particularly during time period of 1200 to 1500. ठीक है. Sir, do we have to read old NCERT prior to the other books? As I told you, if you don't have if I would say a background to it, then yes. सतीश चंद्रा में क्या लिखा है आंसर इसका, वो सतीश चंद्रा में जाके देखिए, है ना, किताब पढ़ना पड़ेगा ना, हम भी करेंगे, डोंट वरी. There were 2 or 3 technologies or new technologies. वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, paper making industry, boat making industry, the industries of pulley system, कारखानास, अकबर के कारखानास are the world famous. You have translation departments, okay, manuscripts departments, ठीक है, screw pulley system, lever system, ठीक है. So these are all the new technologies that we started. For example, paper making industry started in Jammu and Kashmir in India for the first time under Zainul Abidin. How many of you know about that king from Kashmir? ठीक है, so ऐसे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं. सर, how many questions are coming from this section? For what? For prelims or for mains? Sir, one conflict thing mentioned in ancient history of Arya Sharma Rigvedic people ate cow meat. It's not written. ठीक है, एक किताब है एंशिएंट इंडिया डीएन झा की, डीएन झा में ये बताया गया है, दैट हैज बीन रिटन. उसके ऊपर काफी कंट्रोवर्सी हुई थी. आर्य शर्मा हैज नॉट गिवन दैट फैक्ट. फाइन. प्रीलिम्स, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रीलिम्स, एक्सपेक्ट एटलीस्ट 4 to 5 क्वेश्चंस. एक्सपेक्ट दैट, डू एक्सपेक्ट दैट, ठीक है. एंड एक्सपेक्ट अर्लियर दिस ईयर माय हंच इज दैट पॉलिटिकल क्वेश्चन आने वाला है. आर्ट एंड कल्चर से भी क्वेश्चंस उतने नहीं आ रहे हैं, बट सिंस वी हैव ऑलरेडी डन आर्ट एंड कल्चर ऑफ मिडीवल इंडिया आल्सो, राइट, सो वी हैव डन विद दैट रेफरेंस. अगर आर्ट एंड कल्चर से क्वेश्चन आता है मिडीवल इंडिया से, तो 2 ही सेक्शन से क्वेश्चन आएगा. एक लिटरेचर से आएगा, व्हिच वी विल डू इन क्लास इटसेल्फ. सो लिटरेचर हम करेंगे क्लास में ही. सो लिटरेचर से आते हैं क्वेश्चन, कौन सा बुक किसने लिखा, ठीक है, एक्सेट्रा, उससे क्वेश्चन आते हैं. दूसरा क्वेश्चन आएगा आर्किटेक्चर से, ठीक है, आर्किटेक्चर से आएगा ही आएगा, नो डाउट इन दैट. अगर आर्ट एंड कल्चर से आ रहा है तो इन 2 सेक्शन से आएगा, दैट्स इट. ओके, आर्किटेक्चर वी हैव डन, लिटरेचर आल्सो वी हैव डन, बट हम वापस करेंगे बिकॉज व्हेन वी टीच मिडीवल इंडिया वी आल्सो टीच द सोर्सेस, सो वी विल आल्सो डू दैट. ठीक है. See, Ritik, there is no use of going into the senseless debate. काव का मेंशन मैंने आपको जब एंशिएंट पढ़ाया था तब आपको पूछना चाहिए था. At that point of time, I have टोल्ड यू एग्जैक्टली, ठीक है, कि काव का क्या यूज है क्या नहीं है एक्सेट्रा। अब वो कंट्रोवर्सीज जो हैं वो अपने ज़माने की कंट्रोवर्सीज हैं, उनको हमारे ज़माने में जीवंत करके कुछ फ़ायदा नहीं होने वाला है, ठीक है। सोनम, आप कह रहे हैं यू आर न्यू। सोनम, आर्ट एंड कल्चर मस्ट बी डन फॉर यू ना। आई हैव बीन टोल्ड कि आप लोगों का मिडीवल नहीं हुआ है, राइट? इज आर्ट एंड कल्चर ऑल्सो पेंडिंग? इज आर्ट एंड कल्चर ऑल्सो पेंडिंग फॉर यू? कोई बात नहीं, आर्ट एंड कल्चर इज ऑल्सो पेंडिंग। ओके, ओके। हाउ मेनी आर एग्जैक्टली न्यू स्टूडेंट्स जिनका आर्ट एंड कल्चर भी नहीं हुआ है? Because see, this batch I've already finished with art and culture, ancient, and now medieval bhi, you know, I did art and culture with that perspective कि medieval का art and culture हो जाएगा एक साथ। So ठीक है, I'll keep mentioning, कोई बात नहीं, I'll keep mentioning the important architectural patterns, ठीक है, वो मैं mention करता रहूँगा। बट आई वुड सजेस्ट कि आप वापस आर्ट एंड कल्चर की क्लास जो है रिकॉर्डेड देखें, ठीक है, बट आई विल कीप ऑन मेंशनिंग इट, नॉट अ इशू, ठीक है, नॉट एन इशू। ओके, सो आफ्टर मच डिस्कशन एंड डेलिबरेशन, लेट अस स्टार्ट विथ आवर टॉपिक टुडे is the coming up of early medieval India, and that too we have to do the tripartite struggle। तो सबसे important जो चीज़ है हमारे पास जो करने की, वो ट्राईपार्टीट स्ट्रगल की है। So look at this map of India, and this is the time period from 7th century to almost 11th century AD. Okay, uh, the very first thing that you do, now we are starting with the class. Those who are new, just want some ground rules for the class. While I'm teaching, I'll not take questions, okay? After every subtopic, I don't take questions at the end of the lecture. I take questions in the middle of the lecture. So let's suppose I complete one subtopic. I will open the class for the doubts. You can please ask me then and there. Okay? Okay. In between, I'll not take it. So we are starting with the lecture. हिंदी और इंग्लिश में अगर प्रॉब्लम होगा, यू कैन स्टॉप मी एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम एंड लेट मी नो कि सर मुझे लैंग्वेज नहीं समझ में आ रही है, सो आई विल चेंज इट, ठीक है, ठीक है। Now, if you look at this particular map of India, 7th century AD, I've always told the ancient students, and I'll say it to you again. Indian polity, most of the time, जो है, covers a successive pattern of a strong centralized empire followed by a fractured, disintegrated empire setup. So, for example, if let's suppose you have the time period of Guptas from 3rd century AD to 5th century AD. So 3rd से लेके 5th century तक, अगर Guptas were giving one centralized empire to India, that gave a fractured mandate from 5th to 7th century AD, which is just preceding the medieval India. So medieval India के ठीक पहले India जो 5th से लेके 7th century तक लग रहा था, that was a fractured mandate. So here you had what you call as the Harshan Empire or Harsha's Empire, or you had the Gaudas, you had Chalukyans, you had Pallavas in northern Tamil Nadu, Chalukyans in western India, followed by many other small dynasties. This pattern almost continued in 7th to 10th century India. 7th से लेके 10th century India तक ये fractured polity चलती रही। हालांकि there were some dynasties who tried to unify India, or who tried to unify the centralized empire. So I'm talking about 3 big empires which were out there. There were many other smaller empires also. The one big empire was Gujar Pratiharas, as you can see it here, जो एक जमाने में, for once upon a time, they also used to work under Harshas. तो Harshas के नीचे भी काम करते थे. Okay, we had a position of what you call as the main doorkeeper of the Harshas, known as Pratihars. So they, for once upon a time, used to work as feudatories of the Harshas, and hence they took the North Indian area for themselves. Rashtrakuts, the other big empire, जो चालुक्यंस के फ्यूडेटरीज हुआ करते थे. सो 5th से 7th सेंचुरी के बीच में चालुक्यंस को हटाकर इन्हीं के फ्यूडेटरीज, इन्हीं के नीचे काम करने वाले लोग राष्ट्रकूट डायनेस्टी बना रहे थे. एंड देन गौड़ास के नीचे काम करने वाले लोग, द गौड़ास हु वर देयर इन बंगाल, they were now taking the areas or becoming the master of Bengal, known as Palas. And Palas will be then followed by Senas, the other Hindu dynasty. Palas is a Buddhist dynasty, Senas are a Hindu dynasty, so on and so forth. And they will fight with each other. This three kingdom, ये तीन kingdoms जो हैं वो एक दूसरे से fight करेंगे for possession of resources, okay, and for a very strategic region to be acquired for themselves. Not just that, there will also be one more dynasty जो 8th century से लेके 12th century तक prosper करेगी. Although they are a far bigger dynasty than any three of them, but they will not directly participate in the war, they will indirectly participate in the war. That part of dynasty we have already done, and they are called as Cholas. Okay? So Cholas will rather go towards Southeast Asia, expand their kingdoms towards Southeast Asia. ये इंडिया के नॉर्दर्न पार्ट में एक्सपैंड नहीं करेंगे. हालांकि they defeat some of the Pala rulers, they defeat some of the Rashtrakoot rulers, but they are not interested in increasing their dynasty in northern sense or going towards this direction. They are more interested in increasing their dynasties towards Sri Lanka or towards Southeast Asia. Okay, so these are some of the major kingdoms. बट वॉट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड एज अ प्रोसेस, अगर आप एक लंबा प्रोसेस को देखते हैं, पूरे के पूरे सिलेबस को आप अपने सामने रख के देखेंगे, दिस फ्रैक्चर्ड पॉलिटी ऑफ इंडिया, ये जो फ्रैक्चर्ड पॉलिटी दिख रही है आपको, दिस विल गेट यूनिफाइड अंडर अ बिगर डायनेस्टी between the time period of 11th to 13th century in the dynasty called as Delhi Sultanate. And hence, for good reasons and right reasons, we study it in much detail. अब ये बड़ी डायनेस्टी या इस बड़े फ्रैक्चर्ड मैंडेट को जवाब देगा एक दिल्ली सल्तनत का मैंडेट, जिसका एक जमाने में बाउंड्रीज जो थी वो काबुल से लेके मदुरई तक रहेंगी ड्यूरिंग द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ अलाउद्दीन खिलजी. And that will give you the structure of a unified political empire for a very long period of time. So almost you can say from 1206 till the time period of early 1400. और जब दिल्ली सल्तनत जाएगी, when it will go away, it will again get fractured into small principalities where Lodhis will rule, where Afghanis will rule, where there will be Vijayanagar, Bahamani, where there will be Bijapur, Khandesh, Golconda, Berar, etc., Ahmednagar. There will be so many fractured mandates. और उसके बाद जब 1526 में मुगल्स आएंगे, वापस इस फ्रैक्चर्ड मैंडेट को एक करेंगे, and again you will have a unified India. So are you following what I'm trying to say? I'm basically trying to say that this is a repetitive pattern जो इंडिया में आता रहता है. From ancient India right till even today, even in modern democratic nations as we are, we follow this pattern. हम ये pattern को आज भी follow करते हैं. Okay? And this is the larger process that you have to understand. आप एक बार इसे समझ जाएंगे तो टाइमलाइन जो होता है, मिडीवल इंडिया में सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम स्टूडेंट्स को टाइमलाइन डिसाइड करने में होता है कि सर ये हम टाइमलाइन कैसे डिसाइड करें, कौन सी डायनेस्टी के बाद कौन सा किंगडम आ रहा है. हालांकि यूपीएससी इस बारे में इतना क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछती है, बट आपके समझने के लिए एंड योर इंटरेस्ट, बिकॉज हिस्ट्री इज अ थिंग दैट easily loses your attention because you are not able to understand these processes. So this is what I call as processes. If you understand this process, then yes, shifting from one chapter to the other and understanding the relations between outgoing kingdom and incoming kingdom becomes easy. All of you are able to understand this. Ancient students who had taken the class, they already know this process. I'm specifically asking new students, those who have taken the first lecture today. Are you able to understand this process? Yes, please. समझ में आ रहा है? Yes. Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this process? Are you getting this process? The first chapter that we will do is Gurjar Pratiharas, Rashtrakuts, Palas, the tripartite struggle, and then we will move forward. ठीक है? Okay, able to understand? शिखा, क्या नहीं समझ में आया? Can you please be specific a bit? What have you not understood? Can you please be specific? Last process. Okay. Uh, I was talking about the dynasty which will come after this. Okay. I was talking about, for example, between the time period of 1030 से लेके 1200 तक, 1206 तक, India will have many small dynasties. For example, India will have Rajput dynasties like Chandelas, Parmaras, Chauhanas, Ghadavalas, okay, Solankis. These are some of the Rajput dynasties who will dot northern Indian mainland. Basically, I'm saying that one big dynasty will come after every disintegrated sections of empire. So इन सब ये जो आपको disintegrated polity लग रही है, इतने सारे नाम दिख रहे हैं, one dynasty will come who will unify all of them and take a bigger empire for themselves. Okay, so for example, that dynasty's name after this is Delhi Sultanate. When you will do Delhi Sultanate, it starts from 1206. At that point of time, it is a small dynasty. But by the coming up of 1300, 1320, 1330, the Delhi Sultanate becomes one large big empire, जहाँ पे ये सारे छोटे छोटे empires खत्म हो जाएंगे. They will go away. Okay, and Delhi Sultanate will become a bigger empire. But when Delhi Sultanate will lose its steam, जब वो खत्म होगा, तो वापस इंडिया की पॉलिटी आपको ऐसी दिखेगी, except with other names. So you will have some other names. You will have Lodhis, you will have Afghanis, you will have Vijayanagar, you will have Bahamani, you will have Ahmednagar, Golconda, Khandesh, Bijapur, Berar, etc. Okay, so these are just the names. Process वही चलते रहते हैं, names बदलते रहते हैं. You know, राष्ट्रकूट्स आज जहां पर हैं, वहां पर मिडीवल इंडिया में अहमदनगर आ जाएगा. ठीक है, नाम बदल जाएगा, रिलीजन बदल जाएगा. Okay, but processes same रहेंगे. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, and then after that will come one unifying empire that is called Mughals. Sir, when Cholas, Gurjar Pratihara ruled at the time, which dynasty ruled in Kabul, Kandahar, and in the northern regions? They were largely, if you call as the tribal Khalifa dynasties. So you had the coming up of what you call as Safavid dynasty, Samanid dynasty. You also had at some parts you had Mongols. हम कहते हैं कि you know, you also call it as the dynasties which were having a lot of influence from the middle central dynasties. So for example, middle eastern central dynasties के जैसे you had Seljuk empires. I don't know if you have heard about it. So Seljukids, Samanids, ठीक है, Abbasids, these are some of the empires. अल ख्वाजरिम एम्पायर, ठीक है, जो सेंट्रल एशिया में या सॉरी मिडिल ईस्ट वाले पार्ट्स में रहा करते थे. लेकिन हमारे एग्जैक्टली नॉर्थ वेस्ट में there were not any big empire. They were getting inspired from Samanid and Seljukids and Abbasid empires. So basically ये यहाँ पे वो लोग होते थे जो mercenaries की तरह काम करते थे for the central or the middle Asian empires out there. यहाँ पर जो empires हुआ करते थे, यानी कि आपके present day the cradle of Islam that I would like to say Saudi Arabia or Israel or Palestine, particularly that region. वहाँ से empires उठ के आ रहे थे, यहाँ पर लोग उनके लिए भर्ती हो रहे थे. And when they started looking towards India, ठीक है, at that point of time they were basically mercenary soldiers. So you had then the coming up of what you call as two waves of invasions in India. एक Mongols का wave आएगा और उससे पहले Ghazni का waves आएगा. So Ghazni invasions, Ghorian invasions, they will come onwards. I will teach you later on. अभी के लिए इंडिया पे फोकस करिए, ठीक है? Since you have just asked a question, so I was replying. Clear? Yes, please. Okay. It's very easy to get confused. So stick with the narrative. Once you understand the narrative, you'll be able to understand it. So at this point of time, we are talking about the three dynasties which is out there. Okay. Okay. Now let us start with the first dynasty, the Northern Indian dynasty. सबसे important dynasty is the which is called as Gurjar Pratiharas. Okay. Now, Gurjar Pratihara's dynasty particularly is considered to be one such जो दो वर्जन्स हैं historians के बीच में भी, that why are we calling them as Gujars, because Gujar as a term is tribal in orientation. तो ये ट्राइबल टर्म है ओरिएंटेशन का. प्रतिहार as a term is also an official term as well as a Rajput or a Kshatriya term. So why are we giving this both epithets to Gurjars and Pratihars? कि या तो वो क्षत्रिय हैं या तो वो tribals हैं और they have come from outside. So what is their character? ठीक है. Now इसके बीच में historians के बीच में एक राय नहीं है. Okay, but we know for sure that they at once upon a time used to work under Harshas, and they also had pastoralists among themselves. इसीलिए the word Gujar comes. Even Gujar community today in most parts of Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir and Delhi and Haryana, they follow pastoralism. They are one of the most important tribal cultures of India. So Gurjar Pratiharas के बारे में ये बताया जाता है that there were some important rulers who were out there. Okay, so you had Dharampala, you also had Mihir Bhoj. Gurjar Pratihar, the most important ruler was Mihir Bhoj, or just called as Bhoja, etc. These were some of the Gurjar Pratihara rulers, the most important. But other were like Mahendrapal, Nagabhatta, Rajyapal, so on and so forth. They were not that important. Except for Mihir Bhoj. So, for example, Mihir Bhoj ke time period mein, there was Arabian traveler Al Masudi and Al Suleiman. They basically talk about Bhoja as the biggest ruler out there, or the biggest person or the king out there who is ruling in northern Indian principalities. So agar inke area ko dekhne jaye, so look at the areas that they have. The area which was occupied of the present day Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, going up till the borders of present day Bihar. Okay? So northern Indian plains ko they were covering in a very huge sense, or in a very strong sense. Also coming till the borders of Narmada. So Narmada se niche nahi the, because at that point of time Narmada se niche the dynasties which were there were Rashtrakuts. Okay. So they were covering the northern Indian plain, and the most important area of the North Indian plain was Ujjain and Kannauj. Okay. So Ujjain and Kannauj, these were some of the most important areas that they were covering. Basically ये तीनों kingdoms fight कर रहे थे Kannauj के presence के लिए, or the for the fight of Kannauj as such, or the city of Kannauj. Okay. So these are some of the important rulers. UPSC, I think 2 years ago, just asked about the names of the kings, and they asked you to match the following. So which of the king is from Gujar Pratiharas, which of the king is from Rajput dynasty, which of the king is from Rashtrakuts, etc. So they asked you a very simple question. Then you had the Palas of Bengal and present day Bihar. So as I told you, Gujars ka border jaise hi Bihar se satta tha. So there you had the coming up of Palas. Now Palas were a Buddhist kingdom. Particularly you have the starting with Gopala, Dharampala, Devpala, etc. They were indeed very much practicing Mahayana and even Tantric Buddhism. So Mahayana or Tantric Buddhism ko follow karne wale. The important contribution that you remember Palas was that they made again the Vikramshila monastery, which is there in Bhagalpur region of Bihar as of today. So they were making Vikramshila monastery, and they were also in a way refurbishing Nalanda University, which was set up by the Guptas. Okay. Now, one very interesting thing that you should note कि बंगाल में और बिहार में particularly ऐसा होता रहा है. If you remember, पाला से पहले कौन थे यहाँ पर? Who were the people who were here in Bengal region before Palas? Yes, please. We had talked about when Harsha was there, और हर्षा का सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन थे वो कौन थे? The Gaudas, right? And who was the most important king of the Gaudas? सबसे important king कौन थे Gaudas के? The person who challenged Harsha particularly, और हर्षा की sister को भी वो kidnap कर रहे थे. That was Shashank. So if you look at this pattern, just look at this pattern, that Shashank was staunchly anti-Buddhist. So the Gaudas who came before Palas were staunchly anti-Buddhist. So much so that they also cut the Bodhi tree, and they challenged Harsha's political dominations because Harsha was favoring Mahayana Buddhism and all that stuff. बट अब देखिए कि डायनेस्टी ऐसे बदली है कि नाउ दिस किंगडम द पालास विल बी स्टॉन्चली बुद्धिस्ट्स. सो दिस टर्न ऑफ टाइड्स, you become totally anti and you become totally pro, has been seen in northeastern India, particularly in the case of Bengal. एंड अगेन जब पालास के बाद जब दूसरी डायनेस्टी आएगी, दैट विल बी अ हिंदू डायनेस्टी एंड दैट विल फॉलो मोस्टली हिंदुइज्म एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एज सेनास. ठीक है. सो बोथ पालास, सेनास एंड उससे पहले गौड़ास, दे आर इनटू अ वेरी interesting feature of seesaw struggle between Buddhism and Hinduism anyways. So Gopala, Dharampala, Devpala, they are important kings of this time period. Remember important things that they made. So founding of Vikramshila University and Somapura Monastery, they are both in Bihar. Vikramshila becoming the most important. Okay. And they revived Nalanda University because Nalanda is se pehle hi ban chuka tha. Okay. I hope you remember the architecture that we were doing. They were mostly doing terracotta based architecture, right? And they were mostly doing curvilinear roof architecture. If you remember Dhakeshwari temple, which was there done by the Sena dynasty, uh, is an example of the curvilinear roof that you have in Bangladesh. So आज के present बांग्लादेश में सेना डायनेस्टी की भी architecture है. Okay, so that becomes important for us. And then you have the most important dynasties of South India. South India में particularly जो सबसे important dynasty थी, the Rashtrakuts. Now, Rashtrakuts were once upon a time the feudatories of Chalukyans themselves. So Chalukyans के अंदर ही ये काम किया करते थे, उन्हीं के feudal lords थे. And when they found that the last Chalukyan leader is not, or ruler is not as strong as he should be, Danti Durg, the first Rashtrakoot leader, becomes or establishes the Rashtrakoot kingdoms. But the Rashtrakuts are staunchly Shaivites. ये अपने शैवाइट धर्म को जानने के लिए जाने जाते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द temple structures at Ellora have been made by the Rashtrakoot kings. The most important Rashtrakoot king was Krishna the First and Amogha which we'll do later. So Krishna the First makes Kailashnath temple at Ellora, cave number 16, dedicated to Lord Shiv. And this is one of the most brilliant architecture that you will find in South India. South India में सबसे अच्छा architecture, South India भी नहीं बोलूँगा, Maharashtra is not South India as such, but Ellora traditions को एक हाइट पे ले जाना, रॉक कट आर्किटेक्चर को एक हाइट पे ले जाना, एंड हाइट का मतलब कि उसके बाद वैसा रॉक कट आर्किटेक्चर वापस आया नहीं, that is credited with the Rashtrakuts. So yes, they maintained very good trade because they had ports to themselves, and they also had to fight with their neighbors. Can you tell me the neighbors of the Rashtrakoot out there? So this is a simple geography wala thing. Abhi मैंने आपको दिखाया that Rashtrakuts के neighbors कौन होंगे? Yes, please. Rashtrakuts are out here. Okay. So whom all they will fight? किसके साथ fight करेंगे? They will fight with Gurjar Pratiharas in north, and one very disturbing neighbor that they will have is Cholas, because Cholas are out here. So Cholas were one such neighbors, those who constantly fought with Rashtrakuts. In fact, Cholas will outlive Rashtrakuts. Rashtrakuts तो 900 something में जाके 973 में जाके खत्म हो जाते हैं, but Cholas remain till 1200. Okay, so Cholas also, they are not fighting Gurjar Pratiharas, they are fighting the Palas, but Cholas ultimately weakened the Rashtrakuts. ठीक है, Pandyas भी थे, ठीक है, Pandyas are also there, but they are in deep south. तो यहाँ पर है Pandyas, but they are not that a big dynasty. उतनी बड़ी dynasty नहीं है. ठीक है. Sir, Cholas and Palas are the same. No, Palas live in Bengal region, Cholas live in Tamil Nadu region. ठीक है. Sir, what about Satvahans? Oh my God. What about them? Satvahans are a dynasty which will come post Mauryas. Rohit? Post Maurya dynasty है Satvahans. अभी क्यों आएगी? Satvahans were in 2nd century BC से लेके 3rd century AD तक है. मतलब सतवाहंस को गए हुए मेरे ख्याल से, मतलब इस टाइम पीरियड पे अभी 400 से 500 साल हो गए when we are talking about राष्ट्रकूट्स, ठीक है. सो दे आर नॉट देयर, ठीक है. क्लियर. इसलिए मैं बोलता हूँ टाइमलाइन क्लियर होना चाहिए, टाइमलाइन क्लियर होना चाहिए. ओके. द मौर्याज 321 से लेके 187 तक रहते हैं, बीसी तक. ओके, बिफोर कॉमन एरा. एंड देन यू हैव द पोस्ट मॉडर्न डायनेस्टीज, जिसमें कुशान्स आएंगे, सतवाहन्स आएंगे इन, and that time period is 2nd century BC to 3rd century AD. And then you have from 3rd century AD to 5th century AD Guptas. And after Guptas you have और Vakataks in south. और उसके बाद में आपको 5th से लेके 7th तक साउथ में आते हैं चालुक्यंस, और उसके बाद आएगा राष्ट्रकूट्स. आप देख रहे हैं कि राष्ट्रकूट्स कितने बाद में आएंगे. I have already provided the timeline chart. I have already provided timeline chart. That's why I provide it from ancient time period itself. मैंने ancient और medieval दोनों का timeline chart provide किया हुआ है. Are you following everybody? Yes, please. If you have any doubt, please ask me. Are you following? I agree with all of you that it will be a bit confusing. So if you want to ask me even 10 times, it's okay. ठीक है, I will repeat it for you. But timeline should be clear. अगर timeline clear है, तभी जाके lectures समझ में आएंगे. Otherwise, no use proceeding ahead or going ahead. ठीक है. So please ask me if you are not able to clear your timeline. I'll again clear it. All of you are able to follow. ठीक है. Anybody any doubt? I'll okay. सर एक बार दे दीजिए, फिर कंफ्यूज हो रहा है. I will share the timeline again, not to worry. ठीक है, मैं शेयर कर दूंगा, not to worry. Okay. So it is the line of difference between ancient and early medieval. Okay. So did Gujar Pratihara overtook Harsha after the decline of Harsha? Yes, they were their feudatories. Chalukyan region में क्या problem है? I'll repeat it once again for all of you. ठीक है, timeline अगर clear हो रहा है तो. So just understand that you can also make timelines in your own books and pages. मतलब आप जैसे पेज शुरू करते हैं, तो अब जैसे कोई भी चैप्टर शुरू करते हैं तो मैप बना के टाइम्स जोन्स जो है ऐसे डिसाइड करिए. ठीक है, सिर्फ लिखने से नहीं होगा, मैप बना के आप करिए, तो कि नया मैप्स जो है उसके हिसाब से चेंज होता रहता है. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, अगेन इफ आई टेल यू फ्रॉम द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ द मौर्यास, आई एम नॉट गोइंग वे बैक. मैं इंडस वैली से नहीं स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ. आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग फ्रॉम मौर्या. सो 321 से लेके 187 तक बीसी तक मौर्याज हैं. दे आर अ बिगर एम्पायर. सो ऑल ओवर इंडिया, आप यहाँ पर भी ऐसे बना लीजिए कि ऑल ओवर इंडिया मौर्याज थे. ठीक है, बट आफ्टर दैट, आफ्टर मौर्याज यू हैव पोस्ट मौर्या डायनेस्टी, जिसमें फ्रॉम द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ 2nd century BCE to 3rd century AD या CE लिख सकते हैं आप. You have the coming up of Kushans in the north. So Kushans आते हैं, इंडो ग्रीक्स आते हैं, शाकाज आते हैं, then you have सातवाहन्स etc. ठीक है, तो ऐसे बना लीजिए. Okay, then you have the coming up of गुप्ता टाइम पीरियड. Okay, पोस्ट मौर्य के बाद गुप्ता आएगा. So the Guptas will be out here in the north, Vakataks will be in south. Okay, and also you follow that there will be some part of Sangam age, जो छोटे Cholas, Pandyas और Cheras होंगे. So some part of the Sangam age will also be there. Okay, so they are also here. 3rd century से लेके 3rd century AD से लेके 5th century AD तक. These are approximate time periods, not hard and fast, very approximate. And then you have the post-Gupta time period, jab you have the coming up of the dynasties which were once upon a time the feudatories of the Guptas. So you have the coming up of Harsha or Gaudas here, Maitrikas, okay, Mokharis, a big dynasty of Chalukyans in Deccan, Pallavas in northern Tamil Nadu. So I'm writing only the big dynasties out there. Okay, अब ये आ रहे हैं from the time period of 5th से लेके 7th century AD तक. Okay, and then you have the coming towards medieval India, where medieval Indian rulers will be coming from 7th century till 12th century. आप कह सकते हैं early medieval India, where now you have Gurjar Pratiharas, Palas, Rashtrakuts. Okay, they are the main, and then the Cholas out here. After them, there will be many. If I would say again between 9th से लेके 12th century तक, some of the Rajputs dynasties. So you will have Solankis here, Parmaras, Chandelas, Chahamanas in Ajmer, or Ghadavalas in Kannauj. Okay, so these will be some of the Rajput dynasties, as you can see, and the Cholas will be here. Okay, they will be there till 12th century, and after 12th century, 12th se leke, you can say till 14th century, you have the coming up of Delhi Sultanate. So that, and after some point of time, you have Vijayanagar and Bahamani, etc. And when Vijayanagar and Bahamani will go away, I will also tell the other one. ठीक है, तो वो सब change होता रहेगा, बाद में करेंगे. But यहाँ तक I hope everything is clear. Sir, why there are no military or strategic alliances or business relations among all of these things so that they could be prospered together? Okay. Sir, Kannauj is a very fertile land. Why is this kingdoms fighting with each other? We'll also come to that. Is the timeline clear? ठीक है. एक और क्वेश्चन था आप लोगों का कि सर अर्ली मिडीवल से एंशिएंट के बीच में डिवीजन क्या होता है? व्हाट इज द डिवीजन ऑफ दैट? ओके, सो आई विल आल्सो आंसर दैट. यहाँ तक क्लियर है? Since you were asking me about timeline, so I've cleared that timeline with all of you. Yes, please, everybody. ठीक है? Okay. Now understand that there are 2 or 3 questions. For example, how do we understand that 7th century AD, say 750 onwards, say we will start thinking that some part is ancient, some part is medieval. Okay, ऐसा तो नहीं होता है कि आज 2023 या 2024 होगा तो we will enter a new age. Not, nothing is going to change much. We make ourselves believe that okay, we are entering a new age because earth has completed one revolution of the sun. So what, be it may, but उससे कुछ ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Okay, फर्क किससे पड़ता है? How do we understand the change in age? We understand change in age with change in technology. We understand change in age with change in what you call as economic ideals. For example, when you change from feudalism to capitalism. Okay, when you change your warfare technology, let's suppose introduction of gunpowder, a very epoch changing event, or introduction of new schemes of irrigation, such kind of technological introduction that will allow you to go overseas and capture territories. So for example, introduction of navy, a very epoch changing event. So technology changes, economic fundamentals change in society also is a drastic change in society, rather not a very simple change in society. A drastic change in society also decides your change in character or in age. And finally, lastly, a change in dynasty. तो आपके डायनेस्टी जब चेंज होती है, फाइनली हमें ये लगता है कि डायनेस्टी चेंज होने के साथ साथ एज चेंज हो जाता है, बट डायनेस्टी इज द लीस्ट कंसिडरेशन ऑफ द चेंज ऑफ एज. The other considerations of the change of age are technology, economic credentials and societal values, जो कि drastic change होने चाहिए. These should be watershed changes, you know, the changes which are very fundamental. Changes ऐसा नहीं कि normal change हो. Able to understand that how the age or the change happens. Okay. So we'll see कि टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस क्या हो रहे थे, इकोनॉमिक चेंजेस क्या हो रहे थे, सोसाइटी में चेंजेस क्या हो रहे थे, और डायनेस्टी के चेंज तो आपने देखे ही. डायनेस्टी तो हर साल इंडिया में 300-400 साल में डायनेस्टीज बदल जाती हैं. दैट वी आल्सो सी, राइट. सो दैट इज डेफिनेटली देयर. सर चोलाज एंशियंट में जो थे उनके ही ऑफस्प्रिंग्स मिडीवल में थे क्या? इस बारे पे सहमति नहीं है, बट दे हैव ऑलमोस्ट द सेम लीनिएज. बट द लेटर इंपीरियल चोलाज हम कहते हैं, जो बाद में चोलाज आए उसे हम इंपीरियल चोला कहते हैं, और अर्ली चोलाज जो आए उसे हम संगम एज चोलाज कहते हैं. तो संगम एज के चोलाज और इंपीरियल चोलाज अलग अलग है, although they don't attribute themselves with each other. So that is the idea behind it. Okay, fine. आगे बढ़ूं. Fine. So we were talking about the Rashtrakoot etc. or the Rashtrakoot dynasty which was there. So Rashtrakoot के सबसे important king हुए Krishna. Okay. Now look at Dhruv. Dhruv is fighting Gurjar Pratiharas. Dhruv is fighting the Palas. Okay. I'll also say कि कन्नौज के बारे में आप लोगों ने पूछा था, so I'll also come to that. ठीक है, तो मैं उस पे भी आऊंगा. That why is Kannauj fight, for Kannauj के लिए fight क्यों हो रहा है, etc. All that. The other most important king of the Rashtrakuts who converted to Jainism was Amogha. Okay, so he becomes a thoughtful king. He writes books also. For example, he writes Kavi Rajmarg, etc. Okay. He is the starter of Kannadiga language also. So he starts with that language also. And hence, for some good reason, he is also called as Ashoka of South. So he becomes important person among the Rashtrakoot rulers. But they keep on fighting their neighbors. So for example, look at Indra. He is fighting Pratihar, Gujar Pratihar ruler, Mahipala, etc. So on and so forth. So that keeps on happening. They keep on fighting with each other. So this struggle is called as the tripartite struggle, the fight between three empires. Now, in almost all the books, it's written that they are fighting for a particular piece of capital called as Kannauj. Kannauj के लिए वो fight कर रहे हैं. Okay. But ideally speaking, it's the fight for the only urban center of India. अगर आप कन्नौज को देखेंगे, it is right at the middle of Ganga Plains. तो गंगा प्लेन्स के ठीक बीच में है वो. Okay, गंगा के किनारे ही बसा हुआ है. And frankly speaking, Kannauj, why Kannauj only, is because of the fact that when our travelers are coming up, travelers in the form that who are writing to us, for example, Fahian, Huen Sang, they are all coming between 3rd century से लेके 7th century के बीच में. They are not talking about, one very interesting thing that they are not talking about is the presence of cities. Indian history में बोला जाता है कि 2 times de-urbanization has taken place, for 2 times. One, when Huns attacked. So when Huns attacked in the 5th century AD, when Guptas were here, तो Huns का attack हो रहा था. At that time, de-urbanization took place, that the urban areas suffered a decline. So जो पहले के cities थे, जैसे पाटलिपुत्र है, वैशाली है, वल्लभी है, okay, they all faced decline. Okay, काशी है, अहिछत्र है, okay, कौशाम्बी है. These were all cities at once upon a time, the ancient Indian cities. They faced decline. So out of all the cities of North India which were prospering, only one place remained till the end of 7th century, and that was Kannauj. And hence they started fighting only for Kannauj. Was there trade happening at this point of time? क्या इस time पे trade हो रहा था? Was there trade? If you would have heard about, For example, Kushan time period में we say that there was the trade of Chinese Silk Route, okay, or the Satavahan time period पे there was a trade with the Romans out there. Do you find such trade, or do you find the name of such trade during this time period? Yes, please. The trades are declining. The trade is not taking place. Any kind of trade is not taking place. In fact, foreign trade is not taking place. So imagine, अगर मैं आपको आज बोलूं that foreign trade in India will not take place. So what will take its substitute? उसका substitute क्या हो जाएगा? उसका substitute क्या होगा? अगर foreign trade नहीं चलता है, तो उसके जगह पे कौन सा trade चलेगा? Don't you think that we will constitute our own consumer economy? हम लोग अपनी ही कंज्यूमर लोकल ट्रेड के ऊपर निर्भर करेंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल व्हेन कोरोना स्ट्रक अस, सो वी यूज्ड टू से लोकल फॉर वोकल, है ना, हमने ये नारा दिया था. दैट वाज अ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडियाज कंसर्टेड strategy, so that you have inner consumer hunger that will drive the inner manufacturing units itself. So we produce for our consumerism itself. Okay, we don't produce for the world. Here also they will not fight for any other trade ports. क्या trade ports नहीं थे यहाँ पर? We have seen that there were many trade ports out there, but they were not fighting for trade ports. They were fighting for a city inside India. They were fighting for a manufacturing unit inside India, and they wanted to capture that part, because from Kannauj you can from all directions control these areas. Why Kannauj is only being there is because you don't want to go northwest. आप northwest नहीं जाना चाहते. Why you don't want to go northwest? Because from 8th century onwards attack will start. Subuktigin, उससे पहले अलाप्तगिन, मोहम्मद बिन कासिम, then Muhammad Ghori, Mahmud of Ghazni, and then Muhammad Ghori. So number of attacks from northwest will start from 8th century onwards, from the starting of 8th century itself. So they don't want to go northwest because northwest is a very contentious zone. यहाँ पर बहुत contention होने वाला है. तो आप ईस्ट में भी उतना नहीं जा सकते. क्यों नहीं जा सकते? Because here also there are some power centers. So you want to create a space for yourself which is at the center, from where you can control northern, eastern and southern sides also. So that's the normal frontier of Kannauj. ये प्रेफरेंस जो है वो शिफ्ट होती रहती है. मिडिवल इंडिया में ये प्रेफरेंस शिफ्ट होके दिल्ली में आ जाएगी, आगरा में चली जाएगी, पानीपत में चली जाएगी, बट इट विल रिमेन इन द नॉर्दर्न सेंट्रल पेरिस्फियर. सो इट इज नॉट जस्ट कन्नौज. After some point of time, the Mughals will fight for Agra. After some point of time, let's say the Rajputs will fight for Ajmer. Again, central northern Indian towns. Okay, जहां से आप पूरे, या sometimes after later Mughals will fight for Delhi. Okay, or then they will fight for Lucknow or Awadh, etc. Are you getting it? समझ में आ रहा है? That it is not just Kannauj, but it is the strategic position of a central Indian town that can look towards east and west and south with equidistance possible. समझ में आ रहा है? If I try to explain in a separate way, why Delhi as a capital? Why Delhi as a capital? Why not Nagpur? Why not Calcutta? Why not Allahabad? Why not Mumbai? Or why not Chennai? Yes, please. Strategic location. Okay. We can't go very much to the northwest. We can't make Punjab or Amritsar as a capital, because then it will have the presence of Pakistan. The biggest reason that Pakistan wants to capture Kashmir is because their capital sits at Islamabad. Islamabad is just few hundred kilometers from Indian town, few hundreds. But Delhi is at least 1,000 kilometers from a Pakistani town, from the Pakistani border state. So our capital is secure as compared to what yours? the capital of Pakistan. Are you getting it? So the presence of central place becomes the most important thing for you, and especially for these dynasties who are fighting here. As simple as that. बट ये सेंट्रलिटी सिर्फ कन्नौज की नहीं है, ऐसे मत समझिएगा कि कन्नौज में कुछ स्पेशल है। कन्नौज में इंडस्ट्री जो आज है मेरे ख्याल से परफ्यूम या इत्र की है। ये बोला जाता है कि कन्नौज के नालों में भी जो है गटर्स में भी जो है इत्र की खुशबू महकती रहती है ना? So Kannauj is just an industrial town at once upon a time, very much established for Itra industries. But there is nothing special as such with Kannauj. Kannauj happened to be a city at right place at the right time. Are you getting it? वो सिटी चेंज होती रहेगी, वो प्रेजेंस चेंज होता रहेगा, लेकिन रहेगा नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन में ही। सो आप 7th 8th सेंचुरी में कन्नौज के लिए फाइट कर रहे हैं, 11th दिल्ली के लिए फाइट करेंगे, 12th 13th 14th सेंचुरी में आप आगरा के लिए फाइट करेंगे, वापस 15th 16th सेंचुरी के लिए दिल्ली के लिए फाइट करेंगे। आर यू गेटिंग इट? यस प्लीज एवरीबडी able to understand? Logical? Okay, fine. So Kannauj becomes the reason for your tripartite struggle, particularly at that point of time, because Kannauj was the only prosperous city out there. वहां पर कन्नौज एक prosperous city थी जो बन रही थी. Clear? Anybody any doubt? Anybody any doubt? So due to change in trade route, concentration zone changes, contention zone changes. Yes, you can say कि change in trade route की वजह से होता है change. That is also there, but understand that there is no foreign trade route that is going on through at this point of time. Okay. Okay. So something now about Gurjar Pratiharas and Palas and Rashtrakuts. We'll see that, and some of the administrative structures and military organizations, some socio-economic lives we'll have to see. Okay. और उसके बाद छोटे मोटे kingdoms हैं इस time period पे, we'll see that, and उसके बाद में we'll come to the age of conflict. Okay. So coming to the Gujar Pratiharas, also we have already done that. So some of the contributions of Gujar Pratiharas is that they made तेली का मंदिर. ठीक है, मिहिर भोज के टाइम पीरियड पे एक तेली का मंदिर बन रहा था. ओके, इनके टाइम पीरियड में there was also a court poet known as Rajashekhar who wrote Karpur Manjari. It's a very important text out there. हालांकि कर्पूर मंजरी के अलावा भी उन्होंने काफी अलग टेक्स्ट्स लिखे. So Rajashekhar writes, so this is a part of literature, etc. Rajashekhar के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, okay, because he is a Sanskrit poet out there. Bal Ramayana is also written by him, so that becomes important. Okay. This is Teli ka Mandir, as you can see out there. Okay. Brick structure, nothing much. Palas, we know that they were basically a Buddhist dynasty, so they made Vikramshila, Somapuri monastery, etc. They started developing Bengali literature. So आज का जो present Bengali language है, the Chayaprada style of writing, okay, Charyaprada style of writing, is dedicated to the Palas. So they start with that Odia or Bengali literature, different from the Devanagari or the Proto-Bengali literature, as you can say. So that becomes important. And Rashtrakuts were patronizing Shaivism, Vaishnavism, and Jainism. As you can see that Amogh Varsha was a Jain scholar as well as a Jain out there. But in their court, there was a person known as Swayambhu who happened to be at the Rashtrakoot court. And the other thing that is worth remembering about them is that they also helped build up the Ellora caves, which had Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain caves, all of them together. Largest was the Hindu sites, followed by the Buddhist, and then Jain sites. Okay, so that is out there. Very interesting is the administrative structures of the Rashtrakuts, because we have a lot of details of the Rashtrakuts कि उनका administrative structures कैसा था. In fact, the Marathas have taken a lot of inspiration from the Rashtrakuts administrative structures. So what is Apa Brahmasa? Apa Brahmasa is a hybrid text. Okay, it's a hybrid text particularly. ठीक है, अपा ब्रह्मसा जो प्राकृत और देवनागरी के बीच में आता है. ठीक है. Sir, can you explain the real meaning of strategic location in deeper terms? Strategic, see, that's what we were trying to do since past 15 minutes. That strategic का मतलब ये है that it serves as an important place of your geopolitical, military, and mostly geopolitical, military, and dynastic equation. So it will serve a good place for your economics. It will serve a good place for your defense. It will serve a good place for as a social unit. So that is called as strategic. ठीक है, हर तरीके से strategic. अगर उसमें religious term भी घुसा दें तो और strategic हो जाएगा. So that is the reason about that. That it serves as a multi-purpose unit. For example, Andaman Nicobar is a strategic place for Indian Army and Navy as far as the control of Indian Ocean is concerned. तो वो एक strategic place है, मतलब वो defense के मामले में strategic है. लेकिन क्या habitability के मामले में या habitable तरीके से है क्या वो, it's not that strategic, it's not that important, or it's not that feasible for us. ठीक है. But yet we maintain it because it's strategic to us for defense. At the same point of time, let's suppose if you have a place in रेड सी जोन, अगर रेड सी जोन में आपके पास कोई पोर्ट है, ठीक है, आपके पास कोई मिलिट्री आउटपोस्ट है, देन यू बिकम स्ट्रेटेजिक बिकॉज रेड सी जोन कंट्रोल्स ऑलमोस्ट 60% ऑफ द वर्ल्ड ट्रेड. अब 60% ऑफ द वर्ल्ड ट्रेड जहां से फॉलो हो रहा है, अगर वहां पर आपका दबदबा है, दैट इज कॉल्ड स्ट्रेटेजिक. कल एक करंट अफेयर आया दैट द फ्राइट charges all over the world are increasing suddenly. Why? Because Yemen में हाउथी रेबल्स हैं, उन्होंने रेड सी पोर्ट पे जाने वाले या रेड सी रूट से जाने वाले, जो सुएज कैनाल होते हुए बाब मंडाल स्ट्रेट से जाते हुए सेंट्रल यूरोप जाते हैं एशिया से, उसको टारगेट करना शुरू कर दिया है, वहाँ के शिप्स को टारगेट करना शुरू कर दिया है. द फ्राइट चार्जेस आर इंक्रीजिंग, इंश्योरेंस चार्जेस आर इंक्रीजिंग, एंड यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग अ इंक्रीज इन जनरल कमोडिटी. That is strategic route. अब यमन जहां पर बैठा हुआ है, it is right across looking at Red Sea zone, and people who they want to create trouble, they can definitely create trouble. Oman is the biggest loser out here. ठीक है, or for that matter the Horn of Africa is a very strategic location. उस हिसाब से strategic होता है और क्या. Look at the revenue officers out here. Desh Gram Kutas, ठीक है, और Desh Mukhas. In fact, when you will do the Maratha history, तो ये words वापस use होंगे. Desh Pandes, Desh Gram Kutas. Kutas means the one who is the controller as such. तो Rashtrakoot, the controller of the Rashtras. Gram Kutas or Desh Kutas मतलब आप controller of small villages and all that. Those are revenue officers. Then you have Sandhi Vigrahika as the foreign minister. ये हर्षास के time period पे भी हुआ करते थे. Bhandara Grahikara, again taken from the Harshas time period. Fort in charge, Court Pala. Okay, royal priest, Raj Purohita, etc. So these names were also seen in earlier dynasties that Rashtrakuts were using. Okay, now the military organization of most of the Indian kings were still with elephants. That is the major change that we will have with the coming up of the Ghorian invasions or the Ghaznīs invasion. तो गजनी और घोरी की इन्वेजन्स जब होंगी तो एलिफेंट्स के जगह पे हॉर्सेस को ज्यादा यूज किया जाएगा. ओके, सो दे स्टार्ट till now Indian kings will depend upon elephants, but Rashtrakuts and Pratihars, they will start trading, or they will start having some of the horse trades out there, or some of the horse tradings, but not in a great way. अगर आपकी आर्मी है, मान लीजिए तो आर्मी का 20% और आर्मी का 30% मैक्सिमम विल बी हॉर्स, but rest of them will be cavalry, rest of them will be elephant based charged or any other beasts of burden. But horses will start coming at this point of time. In fact, Rashtrakuts, because they were present on the western part of India, they could import a lot of artifacts from Africa, and they even have the presence of what you call as Turushk. Rashtrakoot अपने कोर्ट में तुरुष्क को भी ला रहे थे. तुरुष्क was the word that you use for Muslims in early medieval India. Okay, so we don't use the word, हमें Muslims as a word नहीं use कर रहे थे, we were using तुरुष्क. Okay, that was coming for the first time in the Rashtrakoot courts, and they were coming as Arab traders, they were coming as horse traders, and they started settling in India out here. The first mosque in India is in Kerala. Okay, because they came as traders out there and started settling in Gujarat and Kerala region. Okay, so that is why you have the tradition of Arab traders in all of these regions. Okay. Socio-economic life, you all understand that this was largely catering to feudalism. ये सबसे ज्यादा feudalism को cater करता था. You all know about feudalism. We have done in great detail, so I don't need to repeat it. But if you have any doubt, please ask me. Yes, Gram Kotas were village revenue officers only. Yes, Gram Kotas, Desh Kotas were village revenue officers. Okay. Do we have presence of coins? So we don't have presence of coins. We don't have presence of coinage. हमारी इस एज को, यानी कि the 7th to 9th century के एज को many historians call as dark age. Okay, so dark age at this point of time was looking inwards. We were not going outwards. हम बाहर की तरफ नहीं देख रहे थे. We were looking towards inside. We were not having, let's suppose, foreign trade. We were not having Roman trade. We were not having silk trade. We were not exporting materials. In fact, the centers of learning in India were declining. तो सब कुछ जब डिक्लाइन हो रहा था तो काफी हिस्टोरियंस इसे डार्क एज कहते हैं और द प्रोसेस ऑफ डी-अर्बनाइजेशन भी कहते हैं. तो 7th century was the second time that process of de-urbanization was taking place in India. और 7th century के साथ साथ हमारे यहाँ पर अटैक्स होना या नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न एरिया से अटैक होना शुरू भी हो रहा था. This was not the first time that attacks were happening in India from northwestern region. As we have seen, other dynasties came in India. Okay, other dynasties came in India. For example, Kushans भी आए थे बाहर से, Indo Greeks भी आए थे बाहर से, Shakas भी आए थे बाहर से, Parthians भी आए थे बाहर से, इससे पहले भी. But the difference between the dynasties which were coming in 7th century onwards, जो 7th century से dynasties आ रहे थे, they were coming with an intention of plundering, they were coming with an intention of looting, they were not coming with an intention of settling out here. Okay, so the texts that came, जो नए texts लिखे जा रहे थे इस समय, जो नए धर्मशास्त्रास लिखे जा रहे थे इस समय, they were prohibiting you to look beyond your village. Okay, एक दिल्ली के ब्रिटिश रेसिडेंट कमिश्नर हुआ करते थे, उनका नाम था चार्ल्स मेटकाफ. चार्ल्स मेटकाफ ने एक किताब लिखी, उस किताब का नाम था थियरीज ऑफ राज. इन दैट वर्क ही सेज दैट इंडियन विलेजेस, ही यूज्ड टू से दैट इंडियन विलेजेस आर लाइक लिविंग आर्कियोलॉजिकल स्पेसिमेंस. They remained the same from ancient time period till modern time period. They have never been changing. मतलब वो ये बोल रहे थे कि आप अगर आपको एक जीवित आर्कियोलॉजिकल स्पेसिमेन देखना है तो इंडियन गांवों को देखिए, इंडियन विलेजेस को देखिए, बिकॉज दे विल नेवर चेंज. दे विल नेवर रिफ्लेक्ट their change in polity and society according to the changes of their kings. So whenever there is an external attack, जब भी external attack होता है, you turn towards parochialism. No, what is parochialism means? Parochial behavior is looking inward behavior. Conservatism will increase. Caste rigidity will increase. आपको ये बताया जाएगा कि देश धर्म को फॉलो मत करिए, कुल धर्म को फॉलो करिए, ग्राम धर्म को फॉलो करिए. अगर आप देश छोड़कर जाएंगे, सीज को क्रॉस करेंगे, तो आप कास्ट से बाहर हो जाएंगे. आप प्योरिटी और पोल्यूशन के कंसेप्ट से बाहर हो जाएंगे. इफ यू विल marry outside your caste, then you will also lose your caste. If you let anybody marry within your caste, then also you lose your caste. Things like that, to save your people from invaders, or save your people from outside society who is coming up. Or for that matter, the presence of कि कोई भी किंग आ रहा है, कोई भी जा रहा है, उससे विलेज इकोनॉमी को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए. विलेज सेल्फ सस्टेनिंग इकोनॉमी स्टार्टेड कमिंग अप, which was called as the जजमानी सिस्टम. आपने मॉडर्न इंडिया में पढ़ा होगा, द विलेज जजमानी सिस्टम, कि आपको सुई से लेके धागा से लेके, स्कूल से लेके, हॉस्पिटल से लेके, सब कुछ गांव में मिल जाएगा. बार्बर भी गांव में मिल जाएगा, पंडित भी गांव में मिल जाएगा, टीचर भी गांव में मिल जाएगा, ओके, कारपेंटर भी गांव में मिल जाएगा, धोबी भी गांव में मिल जाएगा. एवरीबडी एट योर ओन विलेज, यू डोंट नीड टू लुक आउटसाइड. अगर कोई किंग आ रहा है तो टैक्स दो, आगे बढ़ो, दैट्स इट. यू डोंट इंटरफेयर विद अदर्स. Okay, that kind of, for example, the practice of child marriage starts with this age. Okay, the age of reducing girls' marriages. Why it is happening? Because you want to, just pass off the girl or get them married before they can, even attain puberty, so as to remove the, if you would call, invaders' gaze, that they should not come and attack your villages because, for the want of slaves or for the want of women. All of these things, parochialism starts at this point of time. Okay, तो सोशियो इकोनॉमिक लाइफ जो है वो कंजर्वेटिज्म की तरफ जाएगी, नॉन लिबरल आइडियाज की तरफ जाएगी, कास्ट रिजिडिटी आएगी. बट एट द सेम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम यू हैव द कमिंग अप ऑफ कास्ट प्रोलिफरेशन. उसके बाद में कास्ट प्रोलिफरेशन भी होगा. ओके, एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड? यस प्लीज, आर यू ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड? Sir, but Cholas were prospering in this period, so the theory of dark age will apply on them. Yes, see, that is the counter position which is being told. कुछ historians का ये भी मानना है कि देखिए चोलास तो prosper कर रहे थे, but understand that I don't know if you were there in the lecture yesterday, if you're a new student. Cholas कौन सा state model follow करते थे, which we talked about yesterday? Which state model they followed? Look at Cholas. They followed what you call as segmentary state model. याद है? What is segmentary state model? Everything at local level. They constructed 7,000 temples between Tanjore and Madurai belt. कि भैया सारा काम टेम्पल पे छोड़ो, सब कुछ locally manage होगा. So although the Cholas were a war state and they used to capture Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia, etc., but as far as life was concerned, the life in a Chola village and life in a North Indian village was not very different. Everything was still managed at the village level with the help of local deities. तो पास के गांव के मंदिर में जाके सब कुछ होने वाला है मेरा. As simple as that. So although the Cholas gave a stable political empire, but don't you think in this setup, जो ये village setup जो अभी बन रहा था, इंडियन गांव के लोगों को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला था कि कौन सी डायनेस्टी दिल्ली में बैठ रही है, कौन सी डायनेस्टी कन्नौज में बैठ रही है, कौन सी डायनेस्टी बंगाल में बैठ रही है, कौन सी डायनेस्टी जो है डेक्कन में बैठ रही है. हमें कोई नहीं फर्क पड़ रहा, जो भी आएगा जी हुजूर ये टैक्स लीजिए, आगे बढ़िए. डोंट यू थिंक दैट इज द वे दे स्टार्टेड लिविंग अराउंड? Are you getting the meaning of self-sustaining village unit? That why it is coming? It's not a good thing, by the way. Understand this, that this is not a good thing. Ambedkar said that casteism prevails in village, and he was utterly right. Casteism, non-liberalism, superstition, everything prevails in village because you don't go out of that. You don't go to cities, you don't interact with people, you don't let varna samkaras come up, or for example intercaste marriages come up. Everything which was wrong with India at a particular period of time had village at its center. ये बोला जाता था. Okay, and that is why he opposed Gandhi also, because Gandhi believed in village, village kind of democracy. So there are two ways of thoughts that you come up with it. ओके, ऐसा नहीं है कि विलेज सुधर नहीं सकते, या विलेज में लिबरलिज्म नहीं आ सकता, या एंटी कास्ट मूवमेंट नहीं हो सकता. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है, होता है, बट उसको आने में समय लगता है. लेकिन विलेजेस का जो पैरोकिलिज्म है, विलेजेस का जो इनवर्ड लुकिंग जो genesis है, that comes from a particular time period in history, and that is what we are trying to understand here. Are you getting it? Yes, please. Okay. Yes, please. Are you getting it? Anybody any doubt? Anybody any doubt? Clear? Okay. After this, there were some other dynasties, small dynasties like Senas of Bengal, जो बंगाल में थे. Yeah, Chedis of Tripuri, they are some small dinosaurs. This inward-looking approach of village act as a safeguard or destroys society or culture. See, that is where you go into debate. So that depends upon your opinion. It does prevent. It's a preventive. It's a preventive kind of, if you say, concept. आप किसी भी कंट्री में देख लीजिए, किसी भी कंट्री में, जो कंट्री में माइनॉरिटी होती है वो अपने रिलीजन, वो अपने थॉट्स को लेकर काफी कंजर्वेटिव हो जाती है. बट दैट्स अ बेसिकली दैट्स अ what you call as a preventive strategy. ठीक है, so that's a preventive strategy as such. It's not a strategy that is very liberal and that is very outgoing. So that is the thing about it. लॉन्ग टर्म पर्सपेक्टिव से तो आप कह सकते हैं दैट दिस इनवर्ड लुकिंग ट्रेडिशन इज अ बिट बैड. ठीक है, एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, in a globalized world, you should look forward to become a global citizen. What Rabindranath Tagore said, that patriotism for me is not the last refuge of my intellect. It is universal humanism which should be the last stage of my human intellect. तो वो ये कहते थे कि अपने आप को विलेज छोड़ो, राष्ट्र में ही रहकर कोई फायदा नहीं होने वाला, आपको एक ग्लोबल सिटीजन बनना है. द आइडिया इज टू बिकम अ ग्लोबल सिटीजन, राइट? सो दैट इज व्हाट your aim should also be in a globalized world. Definitely, we are not talking about a globalized world. This is not a globalized world. We were going towards globalization as such. ठीक है. These are some small dynasties जो इन्हीं के टाइम पीरियड पे हुआ करती थी, like Chedis of Tripuri or Senas of Bengal. You just need to know their king's name. You don't need to be in detail. For example, Senas के टाइम पीरियड पे बख्तियार खिलजी आकर अटैक कर रहे थे. Okay, so look at this time period. This is a time period of again 10th to 12th century, 13th century. At this point of time, Bakhtiyar Khilji was coming up and attacking most of Buddhist monasteries, including Nalanda, and he was burning all of it. Okay, so that is what is important for you. Just note it. Chedis of Tripuri in मध्य प्रदेश. हमने गंगास के बारे में पहले ही डिस्कस किया हुआ है. तो वेस्टर्न गंगास एंड ईस्टर्न गंगास जो थे आपके उड़ीसा में. अब वेस्टर्न गंगास, sorry, ईस्टर्न गंगास were there in Odisha at that point of time. Narasimha Deva constructed a temple of sun temple at Konark, so that becomes important. इसके बाद चालुक्यंस आते हैं वेंगीज में, एंड देन देयर आर वेस्टर्न चालुक्यास आउट देयर. विक्रमादित्य becomes an important person of western Chalukya of Kalyani. So just know their name, etc. Okay. There were some Kashmir kingdoms which were coming from almost 5th century, 6th century AD, say almost 11th, 12th century AD tak. What were these kingdoms? These kingdoms were like Karkota dynasty, Hindu Shahi dynasty. Karkota dynasty mein there were person like Durlabh Vardhan. Hindu Shahi dynasties mein you had Jaypal or you have Dharampal, etc. The Hindu Shahi dynasties controlled the areas till Kabul. तो वो काबुल तक कंट्रोल किया करते थे. Karkota dynasty controlled the areas till Kashmir region. Okay. Then you had Utpal dynasty, which was the most important dynasty in Kashmir. It lasted till around 9th century AD. So you had a person like as Avanti Varman. For example, Kashmir में एक town है Avantipora, आपने सुना होगा. So Avantipora on the basis of the lakes that were made by Avanti Varman. Okay. They started with many irrigation works and other temple building activities. So dated to that. There was one writer in Kashmir जिन्होंने कल्हन ने राज तरंगिनी लिखी. We have mentioned Raj Tarangini in the Mauryan time period because Raj Tarangini says that the city of Srinagar was made by Ashoka, and Ashoka also made temples of Ashokeshwara and Vijayeshwara. So we have talked about that. But Kalhan ka Raj Tarangini is a string of 1000 kings ka stories. So Raj Tarangini matlab string of kings stories. Okay. So in that he writes about these dynasties. Okay. The Karkotas, the Utpals, the Loharas, etc. इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट किंग को बताते हैं फ्रॉम द करकोटा डायनेस्टी एज ललितादित्य मुक्तापीड़ा. Okay, who becomes one of the most important kings of Kashmir region. Okay, and that becomes very important text for us. So Kalhan's Raj Tarangini, although ये 11th-12th century text है. Okay, that is what it is important for us. मार्तंड टेम्पल जो सन टेम्पल है कश्मीर का, ओके, वो ललितादित्य मुक्तापीड़ा के समय का बना हुआ है. सो दैट इज द मेमोरीज ऑफ दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. And Didda was one female, was one queen. दिद्दा का मतलब होता है दीदी या बड़ी दीदी या बहन जो है. दिद्दा एपिथेट था, ठीक है, अवंती वर्मन के बाद में जो आ रही थी. शी वाज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट स्ट्रॉन्ग फीमेल रूलर इन कश्मीर. So these are some of the important inter time period kingdoms at that point of time. We don't know much about them and that is why we don't study much about them. हमें बहुत लिमिटेड तरीके से इनके बारे में पता है. सो लिमिटेड तरीके का मतलब है हमें कलहन के राज तरंगिनी से ही पता है अबाउट देम. ओके, सो that is the reason that we don't have much research being done about them. Okay, except for few here and there and except for the architecture that they made. Okay, so that is the reason we have very small time out here. सर कलहन कौन से किंग के कोर्ट पोएट थे? वो किसी किंग के कोर्ट पोएट नहीं थे. ही वाज राइटिंग इंडिपेंडेंटली. सो कलहन्स राज तरंगिनी, दैट इज व्हाई इज वन सच हिस्टोरिकल टेक्स्ट जो कि अगर मैं पूछूं तो इंडिपेंडेंट स्कॉलर्स के टर्म पे आता है और काफी दूसरे डायनेस्टीज के बारे में भी हमें बताते हैं. ठीक है. सर की पॉइंट्स बता दीजिए नोट्स मिडिवल हिस्ट्री बनाने के. जो इम्पोर्टेंट है वहां पे मैं ज्यादा टाइम स्पेंड करता हूँ, जो इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है मैं की पॉइंट्स बता के आगे निकलता हूँ. सो दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव डन. ठीक है. सो सर मीन्स हिज हिस्ट्री इज ऑथेंटिक, नॉट दैट ऑथेंटिक. कलहंस राज तरंगिनी इज नॉट दैट ऑथेंटिक. इनफैक्ट वो जो लाइन बताते हैं 1000 years हिस्ट्री की लाइन बताते हैं, दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट वेरी if I would say correct to the point. Okay, so for example he doesn't mention about Harsha, although Harsha mentions about Kashmir. He doesn't mention about Kanishk also. Kanishk ne Kashmir mein you know fourth Buddhist council करवाया था. So that is out there. Yes, yes guys, any other doubt? If you have any doubt till here, please ask me. If you have any doubt till here, please ask me. Anybody, any doubt? So tell us some important topic about medieval India. We will more stress on that. I have already told you, you have to stress upon Vijayanagar, Bahamani, Marathas, Delhi Sultanate, Mughal India तो हम करेंगे ही करेंगे. Rajput kingdoms, they are very important. ठीक है, so we'll do Rajput kingdoms also. Sir, do we have to include factual informations like important officials in notes as already mentioned in the crux? No. If it is there, तो कोई बात नहीं. सर बट पीछे कुशांस के नाम लिखे हैं स्लाइड्स में, वो हमने लिखे हैं. ठीक है. राज तरंगिनी कनिष्क के बारे में नहीं बोलते, कुशांस के बारे में बोलते हैं, लेकिन कनिष्क के बारे में नहीं बोलते. वो हमने लिखे हैं. ठीक है. यस. Anything else? Any doubt till here? Please ask me. Sir, Chola Gurjar Pratiharas is important for prelims. Cholas are very important. Why I say it is important? Because उत्तर मेरूर इंस्क्रिप्शन के बारे में प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने बोला था अपने मन की बात इसमें. Now, Uttar Merur inscription, you know, Prantaka Chola ka hai, and it talks about local self-government units. So basically, Prime Minister was speaking about the local self-government traditions in India, and he was speaking about Vaishali, and he was also speaking about Cholas in South India. So that becomes important. Okay, let's go through it once. That's important. Yes, Geet Govind is also being written at this time by Jaydev, and they will start having bhakti literatures also. तो हम दो पैरेलल प्रोसेस करते हैं मिडीवल इंडिया में. वी डू सूफिज्म एंड वी डू भक्ति. तो सूफिज्म और भक्ति से लेकर क्वेश्चंस आते ही रहते हैं. हाँ, सेंगोल is also kept in parliament and all, so yes, you can say that. Yes. और कुछ? Anything else, guys? Sir, some historians say Pratihar and Rajput is the same, some say whole is different. We have to do origin of Rajputs. हमें origin of Rajputs करना है. See, this is the rise of Rajputs. तो मैं उसके बारे में बात करूंगा, ठीक है. But I'm thinking that I should start this topic from tomorrow. Yes, whatever you tell me. अगर आपको आज ज़्यादा लग रहा है तो मैं कल से start करूंगा. Otherwise, I'll start this topic from tomorrow and the coming up of Delhi Sultanate. अगर नहीं तो I can, you know, Cholas we have already done, so that is there. Yes. Sir, can we stop for a break? I'm not giving break, Malika, because class today's or class will be till 27 till 10:30 because I have a class from uh, almost 11 o'clock. So I need just half an hour in between my classes. So I'm keeping the class till 10:30. But that's what I'm asking you guys, that if you are okay that I can introduce the topic of rise of Rajputs. Otherwise, we'll start from tomorrow. So that is what I was asking you. Okay. Sir, UPSC asks question on a disputed topic. Trend is no. UPSC doesn't ask much any topic which is disputed or which is controversial, but UPSC may ask periphery topics from there. तो वहां से periphery topics पूछ सकती हैं. ठीक है. So fine, we'll do it from tomorrow, but I'm waiting for any doubts. ठीक है, I have my time with you. So if you have any doubts, please ask me, or if you have any other doubts in general, you can ask me definitely. So I know कल से नया topic करेंगे, so that will be better. But any doubts from today, particularly new students who have come, who have joined today, if you're not able to understand anything, please let me know. ठीक है. Anybody, any doubt? Are you following everything? अभी तक जो हम लोगों ने किया, have you followed? अभी तक जो हमने किया, have you followed? Sir, please explain differences between land grants like Brahmadeya, Devdan and Agrahar. See, Brahmadeya, Devdan and Agrahar. देखिए, अग्र का मतलब होता है आगे वाले, ठीक है. आगे वाले मतलब आगे के कास्ट, अग्र. सो वहां से आता है अग्र आहार, दैट मीन्स that is for their personal consumption. Brahmadeya is also meant to given to the Brahmins in the form of दक्षिणा फॉर रिचुअल्स. तो आपने कोई रिचुअल्स किया, उसके लिए आपको दक्षिणा दे दिया गया. बट देवदान is the term which is associated with grants to temples. Okay, so Devadan is mostly given to temples. Let's suppose Brihadeshwar temple बना है, तो बृहदेश्वर टेम्पल के आसपास के एरियाज को देवदान दे दिया गया है, यानी कि वो टेम्पल की प्रॉपर्टी है. बट ऑल्सो दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ व्हाट यू कॉल एज priests or the temple management itself that is given. So you can understand that maybe Devadan is for community or for the temple as such. It's an institutional grant, but Brahmadeya and Agrahar is individual grants given in perpetuity. So that is the reason about that. Sir, can you please repeat Kashmir kings? I missed it. See, the important kingdoms are Karkota, Utpal एंड हिंदू शाही डायनेस्टी. ये तीन किंगडम्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. और जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट किंग हैं उसमें सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट किंग एक्चुअली ललितादित्य मुक्तापीड़ा है, who is associated with building of the Martanda Sun temple, and the female queen known as Didda from Kashmir. Didda happened to be a very aristocratic ruler also. She was not very not very, if I would say, benevolent ruler, but Didda ruled with an iron hand. इनफैक्ट उन्हें कैथरीन द ग्रेट के साथ भी कंपेयर किया जाता है रशिया के. तो these were some of the important rulers. Other than that, there are Avanti Swara, who establishes Avantipura, and most of the Kashmir rulers are known for establishing some or the other form of industries out there. बट एक इसके बाद में जब इस्लामिक किंगडम्स आती हैं, सो देयर इज वन पर्टिकुलर किंग विच इज नोन एज जैनुल आब्दीन. जैनुल आब्दीन के लिए ऊपर यूपीएससी क्वेश्चन पूछी है और पूछती रहती है. So Zainul Abidin is also known as Ashoka of Kashmir, and something like that. So he is a benevolent ruler. He starts many industries. He builds and rebuilds temples and also Sufi shrines, etc. So Zainul Abidin, Avantiswara, Lalitaditya Muktapida, these are some of the important kings from the Kashmir during dynasties of 5th, 6th century, 7th, 8th century. Hindu Shahi kingdoms जब आते हैं तो आनंदपाल, जयपाल, these are frontier kings. तो ये कश्मीर से लेके काबुल तक के रीजन को एक तरीके से डिफेंड करते हैं. And when it is the kingdom of Hindupal or the Hindu Shahi kingdoms, then you have the attacks of Ghaznavid and Ghorian attacks. It is then that attacks happen, and that is where they are not able to defend the frontiers, and they enter into Indian kingdoms or they enter into Indian territories after crossing Indus. So that is the thing about it. हाँ, Akbar of Kashmir. Sorry. Sir, during class I get into slumber for a while. How to avoid it? Get a good sleep before coming to class. A few days ago, Martanda temple in news. Yes, Martand temple is always in news. Martand temple is always in news. Yes. Anything else, guys? Okay. Fine. So we will meet tomorrow and we will start with the what you call as the Rajput kingdoms. Okay. Sir, how do you stay calm all the time? There is no need for me to be agitated. I don't stay in parliament. Na? People who are in parliament suffer from hypertension. I am amongst my students all the time, so I stay calm. There is no need to be agitated, but the world nowadays is agitated. So all that you have to do is to save yourself from that fever of being hyper masculine all the time. है ना? आजकल सबको बुखार चढ़ा हुआ है, to be hyper masculine nowadays. So all that you have to do to be a sane person is to save yourself from that trend. सर सिंध वाला अटैक कब पढ़ेंगे? जब हम गजनवीड घोरियन अटैक्स पढ़ेंगे. फाइन. हाँ यशुतोष, व्हाट इज योर डाउट? एनी डाउट? फाइन. Sir, I remain home all the day, still cranky all the time. थोड़ा बाहर बाहर घूम लिया करिए, है ना? Go for a walk or something like that. But I must tell you that when you study history, history gives you a curse and history gives you a blessing, both. I must say. The curse is that you have to remember history. I don't know how many of you have seen a movie called as Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. तो जो spotless mind होता है, they are always happy. Kids are always happy. Toddlers are always happy because they don't have a memory of their past problems. History gives you a curse that you do remember the past and hence you have a curse. Just think that you are trying to remember 4, 5, 6,000 years history. अगर मैं आपको बोलूं कि you will not forget a thing in your life, you will go mad. Human brains are not supposed to remember all the things of their lifetime. जब तक आप कुछ भूलोगे नहीं, तब तक आप कुछ नया सीखोगे नहीं. So the mind becomes burdened with memory. So the history gives you a curse of memory. But history also gives you a blessing that you are able to see the past and hence predict the future, because the time is not linear as we would like to say. Time is सीधा नहीं है. हम सबको लगता है कि time सीधा जा रहा है. Time never goes anywhere. Time comes back to you. Time is linear नहीं है. Time is circular. That means what has happened today has happened in the past, and perhaps it will again happen tomorrow. So all that you have to do is to be patient, wait for your turn to come and strike gold. So the thing is that you have to be at the right time at the right place. That's it. So prelims aane wala hai. Prelims has happened in the past. It will happen in the future. And hence I say that time is cyclic. So if you are not able to catch the bus for the last prelims, all that you have to wait for your turn patiently and strike gold. Okay. Sir, prelims is coming and I think there is very less time. Still, syllabus is not completed. Yes. अब आपके syllabus में क्या क्या बचा हुआ है? So from my side, I think I just have to complete medieval. So I have given you a timeline that by 29th we will complete medieval. आपके लिए क्या बचा हुआ है? Sir, Western Chalukyas is different from other Chalukyas. Yes, but they have the same branch. Only environment is remaining. So I think by Jan 2 weeks, first 2 weeks, you will complete your environment and things will be better. Nahin? That will happen. Okay. Fine. Sir, Chalukyans of Kalyani is different from Chalukyans of that king who are introducing Vesara style. Yes, but they are from the same branch. They are from the same branch. Sir, will we study post-independence history? It doesn't come in prelims, so that is not our priority for today. But yes, we will study post-independence is a part of your syllabus. Sir, your favorite history character? Believe me or not, I have not found one character which is my favorite. Every character is like another character. Every character has flaws. Every character has same presence. तो कोई भी character मुकम्मल नहीं होता है, ठीक है ना? So I don't have favorites. Social justice and post independence not done. ठीक है. और environment. फाइन, बट मेरे तरफ से तो आपका हिस्ट्री हो गया है, एक्सेप्ट medieval, so yes. But if your syllabus is getting completed in January, that is still okay. That will give you, January के बाद में आपको मेंस का नहीं पढ़ना है, वैसे भी आपको प्रीलिम्स का ही पढ़ना है. Make sure that you keep on taking prelims very seriously. Don't study mains after January at all. ठीक है, just keep on doing that. यहाँ पे दूसरे बैचेस के भी बच्चे हैं, तो हाँ आपका भी कुछ और बचा हुआ है, बट आई थिंक वन सब्जेक्ट इज रिमेनिंग फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू. सो आई थिंक January will be the last thing, and then you will start revising, right? Make sure that before prelims you do at least 3 times revisions of each subject, and at least solve 500 questions of each uh, subject. That will help you out. Fine. ठीक है. So still that character which is same like your personality to match your own story. No, I don't know. I don't consider myself too seriously. We are nothing spec. I don't know कौन सा character मेरे जैसा है. चलिए सर, ये टॉपिक्स कब होंगे फिर प्रीलिम्स के बाद? सुमित, ये तो मैं आपको बता नहीं पाऊंगा, बट यू कैन राइट टू सपोर्ट एंड मैनेजमेंट एंड दे विल लेट यू नो. बट इफ यू आस्क मी पर्सनली तो मैं पूछ के बता सकता हूँ. ठीक है, ओके, फाइन. ठीक है दोस्तों, तो कल मिलते हैं. और कल से हम राजपूत, घोरियन किंगडम्स, दिल्ली सल्तनत, we'll start with all of this. ठीक है, okay. Take care everybody. Thank you.